Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I'm going to talk about this lame ass movie, Green Lantern Beware My Power, because it was a hot mess. It honestly was a hot mess. If you like Green Lantern, don't watch it. The only thing I can really say is that at least John Stewart and Hawk Girl got spotlight, because they don't get that many chances. And after this movie, I doubt they'll give them any more chances, because this movie has not been well received by the fandom, who people who like Green Lantern anyway, because it's not a good movie. It's honestly not a good movie. The animation is gorgeous. I will give you that. The animation is good, but the story is a hot mess. And I'm just trying to figure out, what was y'all thinking? But of course, they weren't thinking, because they got people in there who clearly don't know how to write comic books at all. Like, at all. I mean, they keep doing this nonsense where they have writers on these fandoms, writing for fandom things, and they don't like the comic books. They never heard of the comic books. They never read the comic books. They hate the fans. They hate the fandom. But yet they're working for the thing that they hate. Make it make sense. So the writers of Beware My Power is John Stewart and Arnie Altbacker. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say their names, but don't ever write ever again. Clearly, you didn't know anything about Green Lanterns when you wrote the book, which that is obvious. That is definitely obvious. The fact that John Stewart is a Green Lantern, that he is a former Marine, he's an architect, and in this one, he's suffering from PTSD because of the war. He's kind of like an asshole. He doesn't really want to be bothered with anyone. And it just doesn't make any sense for a decorate soldier like him, because when John, kind of appeared, that he was a stiff, no nonsense kind of guy. Of course he was. But he had some kind of character behind him. I don't know what this is. I really don't know what they were thinking when they thought about this. And I get it. I mean, John does come with a little bit of background from, growing up as a black man, not really listening to authority figures or whatever, and dealing with the burden of being a black American. And I get it. I do get it. After you serve the war, you come home, and then you have to deal with certain people. You have to deal with authority figures who just kind of disrespect you after you fought for their freedom. Yeah, it does kind of make sense why he's a little stoic or whatever. But to ignore that story, to ignore the fact that he was a backup for Hal Jordan after Guy Gardner, who was the original backup for Hal Jordan, got injured, and John Stewart saved the day with and was granted to become a new Green Lantern. And one of his first missions that he had was to protect a racist politician, right? And, of course, dealing with a racist politician, John Stewart's black, and of course, being remembered, he doesn't really like authority figures. He thinks that they're morally corrupt. But at the end of the day, he still saved the day. He still showed that even with all of that, he still will save the day. He still will sacrifice. And I understand that story might be a little bit for people, but the character was made 50 years ago. That is his origin. And I'm getting kind of tired of us destroying characters' origins or trying to match them with somebody else's origin just because you don't want to touch that subject, just because you don't want to touch that topic out of fear or whatever, because this could have worked for John Stewart, because it would have given Grievance to get that chip off his shoulder, where he realized that even though the world isn't fair, the world isn't perfect or whatever, being a hero, saving the day, and putting his life on the line is way more important than whatever grievances he had with the world. And that could have did something cool. I mean, that could have been a great lesson for him to learn or whatever, since, you know, we keep skipping over, you know, characters like John. And then what makes it even worse is that they took away John Stewart's origins for his story, and then they gave him Kyle Rayner's story. So what happened is all the Green Lanterns died, and one of the Owens from Oa, one of the Guardians, decided to give the last ring to Kyle Rayner, who was an upcoming artist. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird that they did that with John Stewart. And, you know, the Green Lanterns Corps is dead, and Kyle Rayner was the last of his kind. And no, Guy Gardner and John Stewart were not dead at the time. I believe John Stewart had became a Dark Star, and Guy had became something else. I completely forgot what it was, but it's another thing too that's really bothersome is that DC ignores a lot of the late 80s and all the way up until the early 2000s Green Lantern runs, which they don't really put them out, and they don't collect those things because of the whole Emerald Twilight thing with the whole Hal Jordan little thing. But I'll get to that in a minute. But what I'm saying is that all of those characters had storylines throughout the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s that don't get used because DC doesn't want to use them, because I forgot, it's a writer on there who wrote a lot of Green Lantern stories back in the day. He was accused of sexual misconduct or something like that, and you know how that is. But I always say, sometimes when it comes to that kind of stuff, you have to separate the art from the artist, because it's not fair to take away fans who are actual fans of Green Lantern and fans of the book. You know, I understand that things happen, but that doesn't affect the character. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't affect me as a fan of Green Lantern, where I should still have the right to read those runs of Green Lantern, because I didn't read every run. I mean, I didn't read every comic book back in the day. So it's unfair that DC doesn't want me to read it because they don't want to promote the writer who did those terrible things. And I'm sorry, that's a you problem. That's honestly a you problem that you have to get over. People know that a lot of people do some bad things or whatever and stuff like that, but it's not fair for you to rob the fans of Green Lantern history and Green Lantern lore, because all people know is the Jeff John stuff, because y'all refuse to release the stuff back in the past, and that's not fair, because it is a disrespect to both John, Guy, and Kyle. Honestly, it really is. You know, and I don't know what this hate boner is right now on the Green Lanterns. But it kind of needs to stop, honestly. Don't get me wrong, I like Hal Jordan. I mean, I like the Green Lanterns, even though I think Hal he's not my favorite one. He's by far not the worst one. I think the worst one would probably have to go to JoJo Mulligan and Teen Lantern, because they literally came out of nowhere. I don't respect characters that came out of fucking nowhere just because they're female and they're diverse and they're LGBT. Nah, you can miss me with that one. Then at the bottom, it'll be Simon Bass, because it was weird that they even had a lantern that even had a pistol as a sidearm, and you thought that was you have great deal to overcome great will. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. No, you need to put him in the Red Lantern Corps, honestly. But I will say that Green Lantern's run was pretty good, and Jessica Cruz is okay. I would put Guy, and then I would put Jessica Cruz, and then I'll put Hal Jordan, and then it'll be Kyle and John. No, well, it can go either Kyle or John Stewart. I always liked it, John and Kyle Stewart, and yes, part of it is because of the Justice League animated series, but I just like the militant, no nonsense kind of attitude that John Stewart had, and I love Kyle's imagination when it came to it. And we saw a little bit of that with John Stewart. We got to see a little bit of his background, but it just wasn't good, because not only that, it not only did it bring in the Emerald Twilight story, the fall of the Green Lanterns, it brought in also the Rann and Thangnarian war arc, which that is a big, massive arc right there. And the way that they did it, they treated it as if that we've seen this version of Justice League, because remember, this is part of a new DC animated universe, which the first movie was Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Then after that, it was Justice Society World War II. Then it was Batman Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2. And then here come Green Lantern Beware My Power. That's the 5th movie in the new universe with the new art style or whatever. They talk in this movie as, oh, the Justice League has been around for a while now. And it's just like, since when? we're just now seeing these characters, and you guys are talking as if it's already happened, because Superman appeared at the beginning of Justice Society World War II with the Flash and stuff like that. That was the first time they met, right? Then at the end, when Flash finally gets back to the present on his Earth, Superman, him and Flash thought about it. He was like, have you ever thought about a team of supers and stuff like that? Fascinating. And then, they kind of left it open ending right there. Then Batman Long Halloween starts or whatever and stuff like that. And then at the end of that movie, at the end of those movies, you see Flash and Green Arrow. Okay, great, cool. Now we're doing a Green Lantern movie, thinking that we're going to get an introduction of Green Lantern in general. They talking about, oh, Hal Jordan has been a Green Lantern for a long time. The Justice League's been around for a long time, because they even showed Vixen, for God's sakes, which, my baby, gorgeous. Did y'all see Mari? Mari was drop dead gorgeous, and I'm mad that they didn't use her in the movie, because she could have definitely been part of that team. You know what I mean? Like, how do you have Mari Vixen show up and then don't have her in the rest of the movie? That was a crime shame, honestly. But that's neither here nor there. They talk as if the Justice League has been around for a long time or whatever. They all mentioned about Hal Jordan as if us, the viewers, have already known that. But remember, this is a brand new universe, and the only story that is from the comic books, honestly, is literally Batman The Long Halloween, which is kind of crazy. Like the Superman Man of Tomorrow wasn't adapted from any comic books. They took different parts of source materials, and the same thing with Justice League World War II. It's the same thing. They took bits and pieces, and then we get to Beware My Power. It's another mismatch of Kyle Rayner's origin story, John Stewart's introduction, Sinestro's introduction, the fall of the Guardians, the fall of the Green Lanterns, the Emerald Twilight, Parallax, and the Rann and Thangnarian War. That is too much nonsense going on in one movie. That makes that movie a hot mess. Then you're introducing Hawkgirl. Then you're introducing Adam Strange. Then you're introducing Sinestro. Then you're introducing Parallax. Then you're introducing the Sinestro Corps, which most of the Sinestro Corps didn't even have their rings. Make that make sense. All of those characters were Sinestro Corps members. They just didn't have their Sinestro Corps rings. Excuse me? How does that work? And then they made it where Sinestro was single-handedly able to destroy the entire Green Lantern Corps. Yeah, okay, that doesn't make any logical sense at all. It was too much. It was too much. And then that was also the introduction of Vixen too. So you introduce Vixen, you introduce Hal Jordan, but then apparently he was killed off. You introduce John Stewart. You don't you introduce the Green Lantern Corps, but it's destroyed. You introduce Sinestro Corps, but only 2 of them are able to use the ring power. Okay, and you introduce the Rann and Thangnarians. You introduce Hawkgirl, and you introduce Adam Strange in a Green Lantern movie. Make the shit make sense. It don't make sense. That's the problem. It don't make sense. The movie is pathetic, and it's literally put together. And then the twist of Hal Jordan being Parallax made absolutely no damn logical sense. Absolutely no logical sense. And I'm about getting tired of this destruction of Hal Jordan kind of thing going on, because we already had Jeffrey Thorne, lame ass, with his lying black ass over there talking about, I don't like Hal Jordan, but I'm gonna, whatever, with the Green Lantern stuff, right? And it's just like, why would you tweet that to fans of Green Lantern who actually like the character? You dumb. And then what the first thing you do, you ship you ship Hal Jordan off, and then you destroy the Green Lantern Corps in the second issue of the comic book run. Make it make sense. But you said you said the story is supposed to be focused on John Stewart for the whole time, but yet it didn't. It focused on JoJo Mulligan and Teen Lantern. It was a bait and switch. So you didn't even use John Stewart like you were supposed to use John Stewart. It just was a hot mess. How do you take one of the comic book events, the Rann and Thangnarian War arc, and I mean, it is literally a hot mess, honestly, with this entire movie. Just it's frustrating. It is frustrating to see this go down. Like I said before, the Rann and Thangnarian is a big comic book event in the realm of DC, which means that should have been an Adam Strange movie, Adam Strange and maybe a Hawkman, Hawkgirl movie, whatever you want to do, but it should have been a movie onto itself. But to force in all of this other Green Lantern stuff around that event as well, which Emerald Twilight is itself an event too, because Hal Jordan goes freaking nuts, right? And that's the twist too. Hal Jordan becomes Parallax, and he looks like a crusted pie crust. That's what he does. He looked like a crusted pie crust. They couldn't even give him the damn Parallax costume, and he didn't have a redemption. He fully embraced Parallax, and Green Arrow had to kill him at the end when John didn't want to kill him, because he was never going to stop. So he didn't even have a redemption arc. He didn't even have a redemption arc in, sacrificing himself for the greater good, not realizing that, hey, Hal, we all lost things or whatever, but that doesn't give you the right to take away, to try to play God or anything, to try to create your fantasy. And on top of that, the reason why Hal was even in that grief and moment is because Coast City was destroyed from the events of the return of Superman after Superman died. So y'all didn't even do the death of Superman or the return of Superman. So when Cyborg Superman and Mongol attacked Coast City after the events of the return of Superman, you didn't do that. So to even have Hal Jordan even fall prey to Parallax at such a moment, his will is so great that even without the ring, Parallax shouldn't have been able to corrupt him. The only reason why Parallax was able to corrupt Hal Jordan in that time is because the grief of losing everyone and his entire city and all of those billions of people had a moment of weakness for him. That's how Parallax got to him. But this right here, where he let his ring go to go and find someone else, and then Sinestro decided, hey, let me put the Parallax into the inside of you, and then Hal Jordan fully embraces it. Like, okay, all right, no, where's Guy, where's Kilowog? You didn't even introduce any of those characters. Say what you want about the 2011 Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. It respected the lore, I can tell you that. Matter of fact, please, once you do, watch the 2011 Green Lantern movie, watch Green Lantern First Flight, watch Justice League The New Frontier, watch Green Lantern the animated series, and also watch Green Lantern's Emerald Knights, if you want to see Green Lanterns done correctly, And don't get me wrong, I love to see the other Lanterns get some spotlight, because no offense to anyone who will watch this video or whatever, Hal has been getting a lot of spotlight, and I'm not saying that DC shouldn't sideline him, but what I'm saying is give the other Lanterns some good storylines like you do Hal Jordan. Kyle has some good storylines, but y'all never explore him. John has a few storylines, but again, you don't want to explore it. And then when you bring in John Stewart, all it is just a makeshift version of Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner story mixed with a sprinkle of Guy. That doesn't make logical sense. The movie is a hot mess. And on top of that, they never resolved the Rann and Thangnarian war at all, even though, it was literally Hal Jordan doing everything. Okay. Sure. So we're not going to discuss that. Then John Stewart decides, I'm going to restart the Green Lantern Corps, and literally him, Hawkgirl, and Green Arrow return to Earth, and it looked like there might have been a little bit of spark going on between Hawkgirl and John Stewart, but that ain't much of nothing, because she wanted to kill Adam Strange the entire movie. So, okay, whatever. And she leaves, and Green Arrow and John Stewart decided, let's go and eat. And then literally the movie goes off. There's no post-credit. There's nothing. And it just was a horrible, disrespectful movie. It did not help the Green Lanterns at all. And I'm about getting tired of DC fucking up the Green Lantern Corps. For whatever reason, either we're doing this whole, Hal is shown to be a betrayer, we have to go after him stuff, or Hal is the only Green Lantern at the time because all the other Green Lanterns, something happened to them mysteriously, or John Stewart is in the Green Lanterns, but we don't mention anything about the other Green Lanterns at all. Kyle never really talks about Guy, never really talked about, the Green Lantern Corps is always destroyed, and then they got to figure out how to repopulate everybody all over again. Is the same nonsense all the time, 24/7 a day, every day, and I'm about sick of it. I honestly am. I am really tired of this nonsense. I'm sick to death of it at this point, because it's nothing but the same bullshit coming from DC when it comes to the Green Lanterns. Y'all act like it's that damn hard to do a Green Lantern story. You start off with Hal Jordan, then you move over to either Guy Gardner or John Stewart. It is not that damn hard. Then you give John and Guy at least 3 major story arcs. Then you move your ass over to Kyle Rayner, and then have Kyle do all this good major storylines that he had in the 90s, and then bring back Hal Jordan, and then just repeat the cycle of storylines. But just make sure you give those characters a chance. The reason why I'm not talking about Simon Bass and Jessica Cruz is because, honestly, I really don't think we need those characters. I understand people like Jessica Cruz, I understand people like Simon Bass, I understand people like JoJo Mulligan, but those 3 human lanterns are useless to Green Lanterns. Like I said before, you put Jessica Cruz in Fear. You put her in the Yellow Corps. You put Simon in the Red Corps. You put JoJo ass up in the either the Violet one for Compassion. No, the Indigo Tribe, or you put her with the Love, or you put her with Hope. Honestly, don't care. But honestly, then they don't need to be. They just need to be side bitches at that point, which means that what I'm saying is side characters only. They can be in a book. They can be in a book, but as main characters of long running series, no, I don't think they should. Like I said, I did enjoy Green Lanterns because it was a duo thing with Simon Bass and Jessica Cruz. That was fine. But other than that, I honestly do not want to see more of Jessica Cruz. I don't want to see more of Simon Bass. I don't want to see more of JoJo Mulligan, when you already have 4 great lanterns, male, human lanterns that are right there for the taking. And then, Hal Jordan gets the attention, and then John Stewart barely. Guy and Kyle, y'all just act like Kyle doesn't exist. And they all are unique in their own ways. But then when you have an opportunity to do something with the characters, y'all bastardize them and destroy them. It is freaking annoying, honestly. And I don't. And then even for instance with the Super Pet movie, y'all jump to one of the last damn Human Lanterns. You really put Jessica Cruz dumbass in the movie over Hal Jordan, over John Stewart, over Kyle Rayner. You know, Green Lanterns that people actually know, people that actually want. Like, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Jessica Cruz is not a bad character, but if you really wanted her to stay green or something like that, keep her with the power ring. I'd rather her struggle with the power ring or be with a Sinestro Corps. I don't need her to be an actual Green Lantern. I don't need her being a Green Lantern. That takes away the arc for her, honestly. Once she had overcame the power ring, she should have been done, and she could have been the Green Lantern for that moment, but then realized that this is not something she wants to do, and she should have walked away. And that would have been the end of her arc. The same thing with Simon. Once he got over his traumatic thing, that was it. Because it felt like when you're writing those characters felt like they had a time limit, honestly, of what they should and shouldn't have done. But that's just my opinion. I'm just saying that this movie, honestly, was not a good movie. It really needed help. I'm sorry. But I know this is me kind of rambling a little bit, but honest to God, it's really not a good movie. It, like I said, the animation is the only thing that is saving it, which is a 5 out of 10 for me. The movie is literally dog crap, honestly. But it was watchable. It was watchable, and the animation was beautiful. But story-wise, no. Lore-wise, no. And I'm about getting tired of this disrespect to comic book fans or fans of these franchises getting shit canned because there are people who are working on it who don't deserve to be there, who haven't earned the right to be there, and clearly don't like these characters. If you don't like the characters, don't write for the damn characters then. Don't work for the studio if you hate comic books. If you hate comic book characters, don't work on a project featuring comic book characters in the conversation. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, Green Lantern Beware My Power was a failure, and I hope this new universe of DC animated movies don't have another failure like that again. And another thing too is start using some storylines. And I mean adapting storylines, straight storylines, not merging storylines together, because that was the problem with the New 52 movies. I'm getting tired of when it comes to Batman, y'all can almost fully adapt a Batman and a Superman movie, because y'all have done it before. But when it comes to other characters, y'all want to do mix match. Y'all did the shit with Aquaman movie with the Throne of Atlantis, which could have been just an Aquaman movie. But no, you had to force Justice League into that. You did the same thing with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman had about 7 to 8 different storylines in her solo movie that she got in the New 52. You know, just Teen Titans, you did the same thing. You forced 3 different storylines into one movie, and you guys keep constantly doing that. Adaptation. Take the stories from the comic book run and adapt them. That's it. Don't add no other storyline into it. Like when early DC movies, especially like let's look at Superman and Batman Public Enemies. If you go back and literally pick up the comic book run, it's almost perfect. Near perfect. Yeah, there are certain characters that were removed. There were certain moments from the comic book that was out of there. But as far as it was adaptable, it adapted the character's storyline where it didn't take away anything. It didn't force characters in there that wasn't in there. It didn't mix mash another story arc. It didn't take, let's put together Public Enemies and the Supergirl storyline after this event. You know what I'm saying? No, it literally took its time. It told the story that it needed to tell in that story. And that's what I want y'all to do. Like, you could have did Green Lantern Mosaic, honestly. I understand that's very controversial, but that is a John Stewart story. That is a John Stewart storyline. If you wanted to do an iconic John Stewart storyline, there you go. and you should have adapted it fully as Mosaic. Not, oh, we're going to bring in Hawk Girl, Green Arrow, Adam Strange, or any. No. Those characters, if those characters weren't in the book, if they didn't play a prominent role within the book, do not bring them in there. And that's the problem that they keep doing. They keep bringing characters in, they keep bringing storylines in there that doesn't make any damn logical sense. Why, when it comes to your precious Superman and Batman, you can definitely adapt their storylines correctly, almost correctly. There has been a few Batman and Superman movies where you just be like, yikes. But other than that, when it comes to the other characters, y'all can't adapt them correctly. Y'all gotta do dumb shit like what we're getting right now from Beware My Power. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Do better, DC. Do better, Warner Brothers. Because I know you can. I know you can. God damn it. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.